Hello all, I'm Sai and you're watching The Book Dragon. In today's video, I'm bringing to you some young adult book recommendations. Now, this video was requested in one of my previous videos and I also thought of making this because young adult is a category to which most people feel resonated to because every adult out there has been a young adult in their life in some time for some years, and I'm sure that everyone will be able to resonate at least to some extent with the books that I'm going to recommend today. So without any further ado, let's get into today's video. First of all, I want to say this before getting into the recommendations. It is nothing but young adult is not a genre, it is a category. Now, a category is usually divided based on the age range of the target audience. Likewise, we have young adult also, which is mostly targeted towards the teenagers, that is, people between 13 and 19 years of age, because these are the target audience for the young adult category. And just like in any other category, we have all genres of books within young adult, but I've chosen three specific genres today. The first one is the heftiest chunk of the young adult category, if you ask me, and it is YA contemporary. The next one is fantasy, and the next one is historical fiction. I've got a few books that I want to recommend today, so let's get into the recommendations. First genre that I'm going to recommend is YA contemporary, and the first author I've chosen within the genre is John Green, who's considered the king of young adult contemporary fiction, and he has nearly 7 books out now, and of those 7 books he has written 5 books on his own. That is, the whole novel is by him alone, and 2 other books have been co-authored with 2 to 3 other authors, and I have chosen 4 of his own novels alone. I have not read An Abundance of Catherines alone, but I've read the rest 4, which have been written by John Green alone. Now, let's just get into the books, and I'll give you a little synopsis of all the 4 books and my personal feelings about them as well. The first John Green book which I read was Turtles All the Way Down. Now, this book doesn't have much of a plot. It is mostly and totally focused on the main character alone. In this, we have this 16-year-old girl named Asa who has OCD, which is obsessive compulsive disorder. And John Green, in many of his interviews, has himself said that he is a sufferer of OCD, and I also have OCD as a problem. It is, but I like it because it makes my life a bit more perfect, if you ask me. And Turtles All the Way Down, it dives into OCD to the depth, and it represents how obsessive compulsive disorder can go to an extent. Now, he talks about these thoughts which go on spiraling inside a person's mind, and he calls those thoughts the thought spirals. This was my first John Green book, and I should say this resonated with me a lot, and it made me pick up the other John Green books which I have read, and obviously this was a 5-star read for me. And after this, I picked up his most famous book, which is so obvious. Most people in the world have read it, and it is The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. Now, this book is undoubtedly, according to me, the second best book of John Green after Turtles All the Way Down for me personally. But most people consider this to be his best work, and obviously it is so because the book is mostly pillared upon the emotions of kids who are suffering from cancer. It is about this very beautiful love story between 2 kids who have cancer. The girl is having cancer in her lungs, and the guy is having a kind of cancer in his leg. He had a kind of cancer in his leg, and he lost a leg due to that. Uh, the best thing about this book is that how he shows the various funny incidents that happen in a person who's dying, who's literally dying. These characters have faced cancer, and the girl especially, she doesn't have a recovery. That is, she cannot be how to say, she cannot be treated and made proper. She can be treated, and her lifespan can be expanded, but she cannot be saved from the cancer. This was so good. If you ask me where to start reading young adult contemporary, and I'll say that this is the best way to start reading YA contemporary because it is one of the best books out there. The next book which I read by John Green is his first book, which is Looking for Alaska. Now, John Green won an award for this book itself. Just understand, this author had his debut book win an award, and also the story is not at all compromising or boring or anything bad in any way. There is a lot of things which is shown by John Green in just a crude and raw way. That's the best thing I like about his books. He doesn't polish or sugarcoat anything. He just if it's a bitter gourd, you just have to see it as a bitter gourd. There's no way you're going to see it as anything else. And then this book, we have this guy named Miles. He goes to high school, to a boarding school, which is very much distant from his home place. There he is having a really weird friend group, and in that we have this girl named Alaska. Something happens to her. That's the main part of the story. It is not at all good. The thing which happens to her is not good, but that's what makes this book one of the best reads of John Green. And the last book which I read by John Green is, I should say, my least favorite. I can even say that I hate this book the most of all, because this didn't feel like a John Green for me, and it is Paper Towns. It is weird for me because many people like Paper Towns, and I don't know, because compared to The Fault in Our Stars and Looking for Alaska and Turtles All the Way Down, that this is not even 25% of what those books meant to me. And I'm not saying that the story is not good in any sense. I'm just saying that that John Green flavor, that tone, it was not that good. But I'd say if you want to dip your toes and read some John Green, this is not the best place to start, but you can also start with this. The next author that I'm recommending in YA Contemporary is Becky Albertalli, and she has 5 books out now. Of those, 3 are written by herself and 2 she has co-authored. I've read the 3 books that I've written by her alone, and they are all part of the same universe called the Simonverse. And the first one was Simon versus the Homo sapiens agenda. Now in this book we have Simon Spear, who's a gay guy, but he's not out of the closet yet. He feels that people may judge him for being gay, and this book just shows the mental state of a person who has not come out of the closet, as well as it is so real. You just understand how normal a homosexual person is. And I'd say if you have some uncomfortable feelings of reading LGBTQ stories, this is the best start, because this shows how normal everyone's life is, and how everyone needs to be treated, how everyone is equal. It puts all those things in a very sweet. It doesn't make you condemn, like you have to do this. It just makes you feel everyone deserves everything, right? It is very beautifully shown in this one. She doesn't stress it out. She doesn't does it in such a way that it is so interesting, and it is so sweet to read about. The next 2 books are The Upside of Unrequited and Leah on the Offbeat. Now these 2 books are like companion novels to Simon, because he makes an appearance in both the novels, and those 2 characters are also there in this whole novel. Now the Upside of Unrequited is about a girl named Molly, and she's a bit overweight. She has a body image problem, kind of an issue in her mind. It's about this really sweet girl. She has had 27 unrequited crushes, and she's having one as the 28th one right now. Will it work out or not for her? In order to know that, you have to read it, because it is such a sweet story. The last one for separate books is Leah on the Offbeat. Now Leah is the friend of Simon. She's one of the best friends of Simon. I think she's the best friend of Simon, according to me, because it was shown like that in this book, as well as the movie and every other thing out there. Leah's also a girl who's overweight. Her internal struggles, some of the financial issues that she sees in her family, how her mother was so young when she gave birth to her, how all the other parents with whom Leah's parents goes out or has some gatherings with are way too older than her age range. All those things are so good to read. If you want to experience something sweet yet very much how to say, it'll make you feel something in the heart, then you have to read all these 3 books by Becky Albertalli. The next author that I'm recommending is Adam Silvera, and Adam Silvera exclusively writes only LGBTQ books, and they are always sad. Now that's actually, he shows the plight of the society in such a realistic way in his books. That is so good by him. And in this one, I've read only 2 books by him. They are More Happy Than Not and They Both Die at the End. More Happy Than Not is good, but most people, I don't think, will like it, because there might be people who like it because it is such a sad story. There's not even a single moment of happiness throughout it. but you will feel glad after having read that. I want to speak more about this thing, which is they both die at the end. Now, it's just the climax of the book is given in the title itself. There is nothing that you can expect except that the two main characters, they are going to die at the end of the book. It is said in the title. You're just going to root how they are going to die at the end. The special thing about the world in which this book takes place is it also happens in Earth, but way far in the future. He always had some element of sci-fi in all his books. That chunk of the story is so appealing to read always. And in this book, the thing is that uh, they have this organization which just calls people on the day they are going to die, uh, like 24 hours before the time they are going to die. Not exactly, but from the time they call, within the next 24 hours, that person will die. They call and just say that you will be dying today, so please do all the things that are necessary. There is no way you can prevent this. You cannot do anything. You cannot stay home and be alive. It is just the sad truth. You have to accept that. You have to embrace that. That's not the way. And just think of it, how horrible it would be. A person is going to die today, and they get a phone call for it. They are not even said the reason of how they died, the cause of their death. It is not known. These things, they are so good to read. If you, I think this is more than enough to intrigue you to read that book. Just go and read that. The next genre that I'm recommending is historical fiction, and in this one I have two books. The first one is The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak. Now, in this book, we have a little girl named Liesel who is a book thief, just as the title of the book says, and she is not living with her parents. She is living with her foster parents right now. Now, this book takes place during the time of World War II in Germany. Just think, it happens in Germany during the time of World War II. So we have this great picture of Hitler going on back throughout the story. It shows the Nazi invasions, um, the plight of the people during the war, how they suffer, how people who are not Nazis suffer. All those things are so good to read about. And apart from that, this is a very slow burn book. You cannot storm through this. This will take time to read, but it will be very much worth the time that you take reading it. And also, the special thing about this book is that the narration of the book is done in such a way that it is told by death. The story of the book thief is told to you by death, and it was so good. You must try reading this if you are a history geek. And the next book which I recommend in historical fiction is The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Now, in this book, we have this very famous Hollywood starlet named, as the title of the book says, Evelyn Hugo. And this story is about the seven marriages of Evelyn Hugo in her life, and how she divorced each and every husband that she had. But despite all the things, it shows this great character arc of how this girl whose name is not Evelyn Hugo becomes Evelyn Hugo and makes that like a trademark in the industry that she's a part of. It shows like a lot of ups and downs throughout. It is just like watching a very beautiful biopic of a very famous actress, if you ask me. And the best thing about this book is that though the title of the book is The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, it is not about the seven husbands. It is about the only one wife, or the only woman who's Evelyn Hugo. So please do try this out. It is adult, but it is so good. The last genre that I'm recommending today is my jam, and it is fantasy. So the first fantasy that I'm going to recommend is obviously the Six of Crows duology by Leigh Bardugo. For any person who wants to dip their toes into young adult fantasy, I recommend this series. I'm holding the second book. It is just a duology. Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. There are only two books out. I've not the taken book out because it is a mess back there. So I'm holding this one. Now, this duology is about six different people who are frauds in their own ways, and they are terrible past. They have, each and every person in this has a very horrible past. Some of them are so rich, some of them are so famous, some of them are so beautiful, some of them are physically challenged. They have body issues, they have racial issues. There is a lot of things that are going on. This cast of six people, it is so diverse, yet it is so well done. If you ask me, the character work is the best thing about the Six of Crows duology, and it is a heist story. They have to pull this incredible heist, and I'm sure that it will take a bit of time to get into the series. That is, you will take like 100 pages in order to get into the first book, which is Six of Crows, and after that, I'm sure that once the heist part begins, you will be hooked to it because it is so good. You might think that after finishing Six of Crows, there is no way that the second book is going to pay off well, but this will just hit you on the face like a brick because it is far more better than Six of Crows, and it is a very good conclusion to a duology. The next book that I'm recommending is also a very famous one, and it is Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. Now, in this book, we have this young girl of 15 to 14 years old named Zeli. In this world, there is this particular group of people called the Magi who have white hair. It is of African-based fantasy, so all the characters are black. The differentiation between normal people and the Magi is that the Magi have very prominently white hair, and the ruling party is very much threatened by the power of the Magi, and they just kill all the Magi. That is, they slaughter all the Magi, and the only people who might be able to do magic right now are the descendants of the Magi who are killed. That is, the children of the Magi who are the next generation. They are suppressed and they are used as slaves. The mission of Sally is to bring back magic, and the quest that she puts herself into in order to bring magic into the world is the journey in which the book is all set. It is very fast paced, it is very good to read. The last book that I'm recommending today is This Savage Song by V.E. Schwab. Now, this is a very dark fantasy. In this one, we have three types of monsters in this huge huge city, and how these monsters come to existence is due to the bad things that human beings do. Every time something happens bad in a human being's life, there is sadness, and that sadness manifests itself into human beings. And there are three types of monsters, as I said before. They are the Korsai, Malkai, and Sunai. Now, the Korsai are the type of monsters who will just eat your bones and flesh. They will not do anything else to you. And the second one is the Malkai. They are better than the Korsai, if you ask me, because they just drink your blood. They just leave your blood and bones and flesh. The third one, the Sunai, they are the deadliest of all because it is so easy for them to kill, because they just have to play an instrument, and once you hear the instrument being played, your soul just escapes out of you. They feed on the soul. You don't know that you're dead, but you're dead anyway, and that's how the series progresses. One of the two main characters is Sunai. That's the main twist in the story. It's not a spoiler. You have to read this. It is so good. Once, if the Sunai are good and they starve themselves and don't take the souls, they will cause a even bigger havoc. That's the twisted part of the story. You should try this out because it is very good. That's all for today, and if you did enjoy watching this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and also share it to your friends. If you want to get more content from me, do subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching and have a great rest of your day.